Hi, this is Dr. Sage Breslin, and this is Wisdom Wednesdays, the evening edition. And I am, let's see, how many videos are we at? It's video number 62. Gosh, I've been making these videos for over a year now, and I hope they've been worthwhile. I mean, they have been for me, but I hope that they have been useful in some way to you. I know that when I started making them, I wanted to chronicle my cancer journey, not only so that people could follow along and see how I was doing and what my progress was, but also to allow you to see some of my personal experience, my personal journey. I also really wanted to make available the videos for people who might be going through something of their own, who felt isolated, and who could really make use of just the narrative from somebody else, the opportunity to connect to somebody else who was moving through a very isolating journey, which, this has been. I feel like without my tribe in you, honestly, I don't know how I would have gotten through it. I think the other thing is it's been important for me to really let people see who I am. Deep dive work and breakthrough work, it's very difficult if you don't know who that person is. I was kind of watching a video of one of the coaches that I know, and it was a very sassy, fresh new video. And I thought to myself, the video made me want to be her. I don't know if the video made me want to work with her. Now, I've already worked with her, so I suppose in some way, the two were interrelated. But I suppose that Wisdom Wednesdays has become a place where I can share more of who I am and some of my skills so that you can determine if I am somebody that you'd like to work with or that you'd like to work your team and have your team work with. I'd like to be human enough so that you know me and you can get a feel for me, so that while I don't expect you to trust me right away, I've always said test, not trust. I'd love for you to be able to know me at that level and to know that, yes, I have the experience and training as a psychologist to manage whatever comes up, but that you also know what my journey has been, and you know whether or not I can relate or whether you can relate to me, because I think that is really, really important. So where do we land today? Well, I started my day in and thus the evening edition of this Wisdom Wednesdays. I started my day by reconnecting with someone I hadn't seen for a few years, who I've known for a very long time. And in the beginning, when I met her, she was really a death storm, really, really extensive trauma, eating disorder, just so much in the way of her happiness and her well-being. And because she also had medical issues, she was somebody that I worried, might not make it through. And sometimes I would even wake up in the middle of the night and just worried about her. And over time, I was able to really invest a lot of energy in helping her understand that I would never judge her, that there was a life through the trauma to a healthy, boundaried life with people who could care about her and love her. And then I lost sight of her. She moved on to do some different things. And as I reconnected with her, I discovered that she had finally found love, and that she'd had a child, and that she was really walking her talk, and that she had taken her medical issues very seriously and really made a great recovery. I can't tell you how incredibly impressed I was and so delighted to see her and her little one today, to know that this process of deep diving, of discovering what's below the surface, of attending to it, of caretaking those versions of us that can be, so traumatized that we can't even function, to know that this work allows us to get better and to thrive. It just delighted me. That's what I can say. And this on the heels of, met with a client on Monday who, similar story, was so suicidal when I met him now many years ago that I really wasn't sure that he had a grasp on life. I know he had a grasp on death, but not on life, and a very, very, very serious trauma history, and yet was still functioning in a very prestigious career, but not feeling the joys associated with that, not feeling the celebration of any of it. And as we traveled through time together, and as I was able to see and hear him and continue to show up and remind him of how important and valuable he was as a human being, that he was nothing he was told he was when he was a kid, that the world could be a safe place for him to live. He has thrived. He's written more books. He's done more speaking engagements. He has just thrived in his career. And on Monday, he spent time thanking me, not for the first time. And that's not to be vain. I'm not sharing that to be all up in my own self. It's the feeling, the incredible feeling I have when I see people recover from what feels like the unrecoverable. And you might think, because of how much work I do in leadership development and leadership transformation, that, well, I don't see that kind of trauma. With leaders, I just do coaching and help people get their style right and their communication down, help them with personnel issues. I do all that for sure. But what I find with those humans when we connect in that very intimate space of breakthrough work, I find these traumas below the surface, this stuff that's been stuffed away by the warriors that we all are, stuffed behind the mask, stuffed down deep in the vault. And this is the stuff, when we pull it up and are able to process and unpack it and resolve it, that we can finally dispatch, that it finally moves out of the way. And the energy that's freed up as a result makes a huge difference. I've seen people, 3x, 5x, 10x their business after doing deep dive work and resolving past traumas, because now the energy is not squashing it down into the vault anymore, right? The energy is not living behind the mask. The energy is available to move forward and to speak clearly with a team, to connect, to be authentic and transparent. That's amazing. I look at, who I am when I don't have COVID and who I am when I'm like laying on the bed. It's that level of energy that gets freed up when you're no longer battling something every single day. I'm reminded of another client of mine who had been battling with somebody at work, and it was just, every day she would come home and cry or rant and rave, and it was starting to really have an impact on her relationship. And those two people loved one another. And finally, the system was able to take a look. Leadership looked at what was happening, and they finally let the person go. And she is finally in a work environment that isn't toxic. And suddenly her world has opened up. Suddenly she's coming home and she's wanting to cook and to have fun and to do a dance party. And, that makes all the difference in the world when you're not spending all your energy trying to just deal with someone, then the energy is available for you and for your relationships and your friends and your fur kids and your kids and your projects and your hobbies and you name it. Suddenly, no matter where you are in your leadership, that energy is available to launch you forward. So, my wisdom for the day is don't overestimate what lurks below the surface. Don't underestimate it. I guess my brain might be still having some effects of COVID. Don't underestimate the effects of what lurks below the surface. If there's stuff down there, maybe it's time to unpack it and see what kind of impact it may be having. And if it's not, great, then we'll dispatch it and move on. But if it's there, why not resolve it and let your energy be yours to do whatever you want to. This is Dr. Sage Breslin. This is Wisdom Wednesdays. Have a great day or evening wherever you are. I look forward to seeing you again soon. And give me a shout or DM me if you would like to talk about how we might unpack some of the stuff that rests below the surface for you.